The Vaccine Injury Compensation Program is a program by which people who feel they've been harmed by vaccines can request compensation. The program is designed with a lower burden of proof, as well as set up in a way to be more informal and more expeditious, as well as less confrontational than a regular court case would be. When individuals are compensated, they agree that they won't sue a vaccine manufacturer for additional harm in regular court unless it's for less than $1,000. On the other hand, if the process doesn't proceed expeditiously, or if they disagree with the outcome, they can still proceed to regular court. So when people say that vaccine manufacturers are not held liable, that's simply not the case. This program began in the 1980s as a result of the National Childhood Vaccine Injury Act of 1986. At that time, there were several parents who felt their children had been harmed by a DPT vaccine. The DPT vaccine contains diphtheria, pertussis, and tetanus. Those parents were taking their children, were taking the vaccine manufacturers to regular court, and sympathetic juries were awarding very large sums of money to the families. As a result, vaccine manufacturers were spending money on both the cost as well as these large defense needs related to the safety of the vaccine. And what started to happen is that the vaccine manufacturers decided it wasn't worth it, and they started leaving the vaccine manufacturing arena. Between 1980 and 1986, we went from 18 vaccine manufacturers in the United States down to 4. And there was only one manufacturer that was still making the DPT vaccine. The concern at that time was that as a country, we would have vaccines that would no longer become available. And that is why this program was designed. There's one more point about the program. For each dose of vaccine that's sold, a 75-cent excise tax is added to that dose, and that is those are the funds that are used to pay these awards. As such, the program is self-sustaining. Because injuries from vaccines are not very frequent, the fund has grown over time, and by the spring of 2023, the balance was about $4 billion. Some scientists have suggested using those funds to do additional vaccine safety studies. However, at this time, that hasn't happened. Stay tuned for our next video to see what the process is for filing a claim. Thanks for listening.